All right, guys, what's going on? Hope everyone's well. Still not 100%, still fighting this cold. I sound a lot worse than I feel, believe it or not. So I'm still kind of under the weather. Part of my voice, hopefully it's not too annoying. But, energy levels pretty much back to normal. It's just my throat, and I sound like I lost my voice. Anyway, woke up to the news. It's 10 a.m. here in Sydney, Saturday. So first and foremost, wherever you guys are checking in, let me know where you guys are in the world. We're obviously going to get to the fight card that just took place, that just happened in Africa. It comes with some controversy, but more importantly, guys, we are up. We hit another lock. I hit actually, if you would have followed my picks, lost on the long parlay, but hit big on our method of victory at a plus 185. If you would have gone heavy on that, one of my boys did. He bet 10 grand to win 8,500. So, and I didn't go that heavy, but the heaviest I bet this weekend was on the two-leg method of victory lock. That was given to you boys in the Discord, so you guys will know about that. That was Ramirez and Coelho on the same parlay to win by stoppage, and we got it. We pulled that off. So, once again, I didn't watch these fights live. They started at 1 a.m. my time. I was obviously in bed. By the time I woke up at around 7, I got to see the tail end of the main event and watch our money come in. Now, it is like I said, we got the fight card in Australia tonight. I told you guys all week I'm going with the underdog. I got him at plus 265. Alexander Depnikov. He's 16-0 with 14 knockouts. That is my upset of the week. We'll see if that comes through. He's fighting one-loss John Manu. John Manu's loss was to Kurt Scobie. I think Depnikov is, in terms of what we had to play with this week, I mean, it's as fair as a upset as we're going to find on any week. I'm kind of shocked at those odds. To answer some of your questions, actually, I watched Gary's live from 3D, and one of you boys asked, should we be worried about home cooking in the Australian card, Manu versus Depnikov? Guys, Alexander, his box rec will tell you he's Russian. He is Russian. He lives in Australia. There's a lot of Russians in Australia who box. So I don't think that you're going to have to worry about that. This isn't a traditional foreigner coming over to fight on a local. You know what I'm saying? He represents Australia. So just keep that in mind. I think he's a level above Manu. And we'll see if I'm right. The parlay that didn't hit all week, guys. I don't know, guys. It's happened 3 times where I go against my own betting advice. I told you all week that French combat sports fighters are cooked. Not all of them. I told you I don't bet on French fighters. I don't bet on French UFC fighters. I don't bet on French boxers. And I got talked into betting on Soufiane Umeha, however you want to pronounce the name. He was fighting Frankie Fonseca, and I put him on my parlay like a lot of you guys did. Didn't put a lot of money on it, though. That was at one loss. Everything came in except that one fight. But a lot of times on the long parlays, one loss cooks you. So if we're talking about how much money we bet, when we're doing our long money line parlays versus my method of victory, a two-legger, just so you know, personally, I always wager way more money on the two-legger. Sprinkle something on the long. It always looks good if we hit it. We do hit it. Didn't hit it this week. But yeah, like Cigar says, add his name to the list. Elber Bardagaziev, Olympian, under 10 fights, loses as a 6-1 favorite against Jazza Dickens. Granted, there was controversy with Frankie Rodriguez fighting Galal Yafai. Yafai was, a 3-1 favorite? Loses. This fight, Fonseca, underdog, against Umeha, loses. So, I mean, excluding probably Andy Cruz, yeah, I try to avoid betting on Olympians with under 12, 15 pro fights, especially against veterans. We've seen this happen again. The pro fight game is a different fight game. It's a different system. It's a different output. Adu's checking in. Appreciate you. I knew it was toast after the first round. No live betting options too. Wasn't appreciated. Yeah, I watched it. LP in the house. Can you please talk about the Manu? See, yeah. Okay, LP. I'll talk about that right now. So John Manu versus Devintov. We'll call him Alexander. The way I see this playing out. Granted, we should also talk about what weight class this is fighting. Manu's going to be, he's fought most of his career at this weight class. And I think they're fighting at 140. It just comes down to, I give the power advantage, I give the pedigree, I give the skill, I give the class, I give the operation, sort of how he goes about his business at a world level to Detnikov over Manu. When you watch Manu's tape, he's a scrapper. There isn't a lot of sort of like, I don't want to say class to how he goes about his business. I think he's going to get stopped. I got to be honest with you. Alexander Demnikov is the dog, so I never get greedy with my upset of the week. I always take the upset of the week on the money line. But mate, I wouldn't be surprised if Manu gets stopped. I just think he does. I think he's the better boxer. I think he's sharper. I think he's classier. I think he's more fundamentally sound. And you give me a plus money, that's where I'm leaning on. Childish Gambino, what's up? I didn't see the card. How do we go? Gambino, we hit on our method of victory 2-leg lock. I gave you boys in the Discord earlier in the week. It was a plus 185. 10 grand would have got you 8,500. And that was the one I went heavy on. We got both fighters to win by knockout. Ramirez won, and so did Coelho. And I gave you guys that earlier in the week. We posted in the Discord. All of you, Johnny Says Boxing Insiders, you guys would have had that pick. And we lost, so we hit big on that. We've already made our money. Mate, I'm super happy with where we are so far, especially with a weekend with minimal. It was slim pickings here. We're eating. I sprinkled a little bit on the long parlay, which we do. Money line, we got burned with the Frenchman. The only take-home point is I was spot on it, though, man. Shit, hopefully somebody's floating around out there saying, Johnny, I listened to you all week, and unlike you, I stayed away from the French fighter. Because I didn't. I flip-flopped. I got talked into it. I'm my own man. I'm not making any excuses. I got talked into betting against Fonseca. Mars says, Coelho looked good. Coelho did look good. And Coelho, I think, is there. I think Coelho is going to be there to be a name in the division. He did look good. He showed his class. We'll see. We want to see more. 126 is a fun division. Childish says, let's go. My book never offered Coelho knockout, but I took Ramirez. Yeah, and it's a great pick. I thought, we covered Albert Ramirez on the channel, I think 2 months ago. And it's something I've been saying since 2 months ago. I'm like, this is a Venezuelan light heavyweight, which you never see. A lot of pro fights, a high knockout to win ratio. I think it's time for one of these promoters to pay, why isn't anyone backing him? I talked about this earlier in the week. I talked about this 2 months ago. All Albert Ramirez keeps doing is showing up winning in fashion. You got to think, man, in the light heavyweight division isn't the deepest of divisions. It's like, come on. Cigar says, I'm not seeing Ricardo Salas in my books, but I'm excited to see him today. My boy calls him the dark horse. Where's Salas fighting? Cigar, I'm not seeing that fight either. Guys, the only boxing fight I have on the books today is the fight in Australia. Manu versus Depnikov. We also have an active UFC parlay working. We introduced our MMA betting to the channel maybe a month ago. We've won MMA. We're on a streak on the UFC picks. That parlay is up in our Discord. Join our Discord, boys. Get access to the Discord. Become part of our community. Support the cause. Support the channel. That link is pinned in the comments here. You join on YouTube. Johnny Says Boxing Insider Group. You get VIP access on the channel. You get more accessibility. But more importantly, you become part of our Discord community. And you get a lot of the picks and locks that I only share on the Discord. I give you boys options here. I go more on the Discord. How do you structure your bet sizing, bro? Do you use a unit system? The way I do it, LP, is when you say structure my bet sizing, my wagering methodologies. I should also let you know that I'm not one of these guys who are going to tell you that I do this to get rich. This isn't my goal. My goal is the love of the game. My goal is to spread my knowledge of boxing and help educate people. So I never bet out of my pocket, meaning that I'm not going to, put myself in a detrimental position to lose money I don't have. I work hard for my money. I work for myself. I'm what you would call a fitness entrepreneur. So everything I have is due to my output. I write books. People hire me to help them get healthy, help them stay healthy. I do speaking engagements. So my whole point is every dollar I have is reliant upon myself. Nobody pays me, right? So I'm not going to waste my money and try to say that my goal is to get rich off of boxing. How do I wager? I basically, if I win, I win. I always tell the boys here, if it can pay a bill, pay a bill. You know what I'm saying? If you're up and it can pay your cell phone bill, your rent, if it can pay your car bill, take it out and pay it. Now, from that point forward, if I had to compartmentalize how heavy I go, my money line long parlays, obviously the more legs, the more risk, even if the odds are lower. So we did a 7-leg money line parlay. It was like a 2-to-1. I'm not betting too heavy on that. But my 2-leg method of victory locks generally knockdown props, dating all the way. The heaviest I bet when I started going, heavier for me was Josh Kelly versus Fabio Bea. It was one of the biggest one-off bets I made. $1.90, 10K would have gotten you 9,000 for him to win by stoppage, and he did. That stays in the account. You take money out. I wouldn't recommend people gambling, chasing their losses, trying to, everybody's going to have their own boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is hopefully if you guys are kind of questioning or in a position where you're stressed out, I always tell you stop gambling. If you're not entertained by it, if you're not having fun, if you're not learning, stop doing it. Don't chase your losses. If you love boxing and you lost today and you're trying to win money, so you're seeking out who's fighting or who's playing or where there's live action, I'm the wrong guy to ask about that, because what I'm going to tell you is going to say don't gamble. You know what I'm saying? But we all have our own systems. It's a good question. Everybody's going to give you different answers too. It's still gambling. Nothing in life is for certain. Locks. People bet tens of thousands of dollars today on that French fighter. I know people who bet tens of thousands of dollars on Umiha to beat Fonseca. And mate, go back to my live stream on Monday. I told you guys, I was like, Fonseca, over 35 pro fights. This dude is. I'm just salty. Not that I lost, that I didn't trust my guns again on Fonseca. I didn't lose money on it though. I didn't see. Okay, we got Dwayne in the house. Happy Friday, guys. Dwayne Styles. Clifton Dennis. I need you tomorrow. You any locks, bro? Clifton, Dwayne, I see you boys. Are you a big live bettor? If so, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not a big live bettor. Only because me personally, my boundaries, I don't like chasing my losses. And I'm not greedy. So if you're saying if I have a bet working and it's trending in a specific way and I'm using my boxing insight to change my bet, I don't really do it. So I don't have a lot of experience or pulling the trigger on live betting. I know a lot of people in our Discord do. I do 100%. Bet only what you're prepared to lose. Don't chase your losses. Take a loss, learn, and move forward for sure. Rudy Pedroza, what's up, buddy? My instinct was telling me Fonseca. My brain was telling me avoid. Hopefully you did, mate. Hopefully you did. Clifton Dennis. No, there's no Clifton. The only fights tomorrow are MMA fights. There's a UFC card tomorrow, Clifton. I thought ball was following week. No action tomorrow, boys. The last boxing fight tonight is Saturday night in Australia, which is your Friday in America. And it is that John Manu fight. I think 140 pounds. He's the favorite. Mike Perez ended up with. Yeah, so because that fight ended in a no contest, it voids the fight on the parlay but doesn't lose the parlay. Now, a draw in Australia, because we have to three-way bet, the draw would have cooked the parlay. So the no contest can't continue, doesn't void the parlay, just voids the fight. So whatever side you were on, the odds become affected. Yeah, Clifton, I gave you guys my picks already. The Clifton, they're up in the Discord. If you guys have access, guys, remember the way you get access to my Discord is you click the link that's pinned here, become a Boxing Insider, JSB Insider. It's a couple bucks a month. It gives you access every month to our Discord. So that I gave you guys that UFC parlay probably 4 or 5 days ago. And that's in the Discord under Johnny's Locks channel. And all you do, Clifton, is click the link right now that's pinned in the comments here. Join Johnny Says Boxing Insider. Click it. A couple bucks a month, you get access to the Discord. Guys, wherever you are, we're 15 minutes in. Let's like this video. It's been a slow week per se, but we're up. You know what I mean? I can't be mad at. I told you guys at the beginning of the week we're architects. We're gonna find victories. We put together a two-legger. It was $1.85. We found our victory, and depending on how heavy you went, it doesn't matter. You put those two together. Coelho Ramirez by stoppage. You know, that has to give you some confidence. It gives, we're not only picking winners, we're picking outcomes, and we do it with logical reasoning, with film study. Dude, it's what we do out here, right? Adu. Perez no contest was bizarre. I think he just didn't want to fight, buddy. You know what I mean? It looked like he didn't want to come back. Yeah, okay, well, we saw that too. I was getting caught up. It's why it took me about 3 hours to go live after the card, because I was watching the highlights. And then I spent 30 minutes watching Gary's live. Gary from 3D, mate, he took the loss a little bit harder. I don't know how. I think he went heavy on the long parlay. Him and Muscles, I think, went heavy on Umiha versus Fonseca. But because it wasn't a big card, we really didn't chat all week. We didn't really have interactions. Him and I usually, we do text back and forth all week, but there wasn't a lot of interaction about wagering and stuff like that. Johnny, you going heavy on Manu fight? What I'm going to do, Adu, is somebody asked earlier about my systems of betting. Now, it's important for me to stay up. So I'm not going to take, I'm 100% not taking all the money I just won on our two-leg lock and putting it on a domestic level Australian fight. That's not what I'm doing. I mean, put it this way. My book right now, boys, $100. I'm just using $100 as a gauge. And if use $10, by the way. If $100 you guys are watching and be like, and if you guys are, even struggle to join the Discord at $5.99 a month, then like I said, be careful with what you're betting. So I throw $100 out there to kind of give you a gauge. Right now, my betting app, 100 on Manu or 100 on Devyatov gets you your money back plus 170. So he's almost a 2-to-1 dog. So I'm probably gonna put 25% of what I won on the dog tonight to answer your question. But let's say you guys lost 1,000 and you're trying to chase, we'll use this as an example. Let's say I lost 1,000 today and I'm trying to chase because the only fight we have is this. I'm not putting 1,000 on Detonov to win. Just letting you know. Even though I am betting on him, that's not how I bet. I don't chase bets. And so just keep that in mind. It's a domestic level Aussie fight. You know what I'm saying? If anything, if you're down, wrap it up for the week and, live to fight another day. We got a lot of fights coming up. If you're down, don't bet. Have a couple days, take a step away, recalibrate. But if you're up or you got something to sprinkle, he's a live dog, 100%. He's 100% a live dog. And so, Adu, I'm going 25% of my winnings from earlier on the dog. And so I'm keeping 75%. And then I already have my action with our UFC parlay. So I gave you guys, it's in the Discord right now under Johnny's Locks. 1, 2. There's a 4-legger that's paying plus 270. Let's go. Dude, put it this way. If this UFC 4-leg money line lock parlay hits, I've done, and it's weird because there's no publicity about this week of boxing, but based on my wagering, if that comes in, it's been a great month already, and we're only a week in, and the month really hasn't even started. So, I really didn't. I was sick all week. I wasn't able to do any stats don't lie breakdown videos for the first time in a year. So I'm kind of like, I can't wait. And fortunate for me, it was a slow week in boxing. If this was a super busy week, kind of like the last few weeks, I probably would have done the stats don't lie videos, and my energy levels would have been low. And I'm actually fortunate that there wasn't a lot of big fights. But from a financial side of things, we're looking good, boys. Like I said, you got 1, 2, you got a plus 116, a plus 150, a plus 117, and a plus 127 on the money line tomorrow. If you're an Aussie bettor, you're getting plus 270. It's one of my locks. I hit 8 out of 8 last week in the UFC. I hit huge. Dude, last week I hit a plus 900 in the UFC. I gave you guys those picks. That's in the Discord. So we're doing really well. I only started giving you guys my picks because you guys asked for them, and here we are. I started doing this 2 years ago. I'd only been giving you my predictions for probably 6 months, but I've been betting on boxing and MMA for years. But college football is starting. It's my wheelhouse too. I'm a diehard Ohio State fan. Go Buckeyes! Week 1, defending national champions. Let's go. We're taking on Texas, and that's gonna be a fun one to bet on. So you boxing heads, you don't have to worry. I'll never do videos, breakdowns of other sports. This is just boxing. But on my live streams, I generally go live 2 times a day. And as we're in college football season, I'll share with you my college football parlays too. I win a lot of money. It was easier to win a couple years ago due to the lack of parity, meaning probably up until 2020 with college football, you would have the first, and sometimes it's still like this, but for instance, Ohio State's playing Texas week 1. It never used to be that way. A couple years ago, it was always week 1, probably through 5. That's where we would make a killing on the money lines because you'd have these powerhouses like Ohio State, like Texas, like Alabama. And historically, they would play like non-conference games. They would play against Division I AA teams. The Buckeyes would play like Youngstown State, Sisters of the Poor, things, and, getting them tuned up to get ready for conference play. And you would get the Buckeyes like $1.06, $1.08. And I would put 10 to 15 of those huge favorites on the same money line parlay. Week 1, I would put $100 on like a 10-legger. Let's say that would hit it 2-1. I'd keep the 200 in and I would roll that over. And I remember there was a year where I was still coaching at this strength and conditioning gym in Sydney. And it was a type of gym where we had to pay rent. So I didn't get paid. The strength coach business model down here in Sydney where I was working before I opened my own was that it was like how a tattoo artist or a beautician pays for the chair. So I would pay weekly rent. And at the time it was, I think, $400 a week. So $800 a fortnight. So $1,600 a month. And it would equate to about, it was almost like $21,000 a year. So I think it was 2016. I put $2,000 on college football and I won 22K. So I bet 2,000 and won 22,000. And I remember paying my gym rent for the whole year up front. And I remember people thought at the time that was crazy. And what it allowed me to do was really grow my business as a coach and not have to stress about paying that rent week to week. Because a lot of the coaches, even though if they would have had a love for fitness and helping people, you still had to run a business. So that really helped me out before too. I watch videos on Manu and I think he beats the Russian. Bet on him then. I'm going the other way on it. I think Manu is going to be, I think Manu's going to be a level below. I think Manu, I don't think he's as well oiled or well refined as a boxer technically. I give the power advantage to Alexander as well. And I already like Alexander on the money line. He's my upset of the week at 270. I might even get sexy and sprinkle Alexander to stop him. But Manu, he's a favorite for a reason. So if that's where you're leaning, I'm not going to sit here and change your mind. The longer you guys are on my channel, the more you're going to understand is that my goal isn't to change your mind. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. Even if you support my channel and you become an insider and a VIP and you come to our Discord, that conversation in the Discord is still open. It's not me standing on a throne telling you that I'm right. You know what I'm saying? So you still make your own choices. Manu, I mean, he's a favorite for a reason. But what I see in the styles and what I see in how they operate too, people were going to love Manu, because he's been more active. And people were saying Alexander hasn't fought in a year. And people are even going to say that Manu's loss to Scobie is a good thing. And they're going to disregard Alexander being 16-0 with 14 knockouts. But I like all of that on the Russian side. They're also going to say, is home cooking, is that going to be on the cards? And I'm going to tell you no, because Alexander Derevkov lives in Australia. He's a Russian, but he's an Aussie. He speaks English. There's a lot of Russian boxers here in Australia. Adu, who gets the upset next weekend? I'm staying staunch on Goodman. I put money on Goodman 2 weeks ago. I'll show you the receipts. And look, I'm not even gonna second guess it, actually. I got some, I'm not gonna share anything on the live stream also, but I like Goodman, boys. I'll get more into it once I do. When you watch my Stats Don't Lie breakdown, I'll give you all the logical reasoning. That's coming out in a few days. Arto Ara, the draw right now is 16-1. That's a nice sprinkle, buddy. Let's do it. Yeah, my book isn't letting me to pick a method of victory, so the draw is definitely in play. PJ lost again. PJ, mate. See, PJ, if you'd be in our Discord, you would have won. I gave you, we all hit big on my 2-leg parlay. I shared it, but, I got to add value to my channel and add value to the insiders and the people who allow the channel to grow by not giving every bet away. I do my best to guide everyone in the right direction, but we're architects out here. You know what I'm saying? Our goal is to design the proper bets for us to win. And don't get it twisted. Every bet I think I'm going to win. Nobody goes into betting, even if it's $1, like you're going to lose. Unless you're like hedging something. But even when you're hedging, the psychology of hedging is still winning. So I think you understand my point. Yeah, there's only one fight. That's right. I mean, it's on a fight card. So this fight is happening. I thought we were going to get to bet on the whole card, guys, because it's actually boxing history is going down tonight in Australia. I guarantee nobody online is talking about it. No boxing content creators. I sometimes question, are people who even cover the sport real boxing fans? Or maybe they think they found a niche? Because we're getting in Australia the first time ever in the history of the sport, a mother and a son fighting on the same card. That's insane. Shotgun Shannon O'Connell is fighting and her young son is fighting on the same card. So I thought we were going to, at least the Aussie books were going to give us options, but no, Manu versus Devyatov is the only fight we're working with. And we have the UFC tomorrow as well. And let's go over, guys, check your books real quick. See if you're getting any other options today. So yeah, it is, see, there's actually 2 cards tonight in Australia. This John Manu card is in Melbourne. But yeah, there's other cards as well. We're just not getting any action. So the Russian only 210. I'm actually getting Wow. So when I put my bet in, Ardo, I got him at 270. He's at 240 now. Dude, Ardo, you put 10 bucks on the knockout, you know, 355 is a good 100 bucks in the night. It just depends on what your bankroll is, mate. If you got a bankroll and you're up, let's say you listen to me and you hit on Quello and Ramirez. Take 25% of that and put that on the stoppage then on Detvianov. Or if you really like Manu, put it on Manu. But don't bet this obscure domestic level Aussie fight if you're chasing your losses. That's the best advice. If you're chasing your losses because you listened to somebody online and you lost all your money on a goddamn card in Libya, Africa, and you're stressing out and you're betting money and your spouse or whatever doesn't know you're gambling and you're like, where's my action? That's an addicted person, mate. You know, I grew up around addicts. I know, it's in my bloodline to be, addiction is a real disease. So, mate, if you guys are out there and you're chasing and you're trying to find action because you like the pump and you're betting on a goddamn obscure Aussie boxing card, don't do it. Ardo, thank you, Ardo. You are my unicorn, Ardo Ara, because all week I was preaching Fonseca, but I got talked out of it. And I said earlier in the stream, hopefully somebody took Fonseca because that'll make my day. Because I did initially, and I didn't listen to my own advice. One of my buddies who's a pro gambler, he freaking sold me on it. He sold me on the goddamn French fighter. I told you guys I hate French combat athletes. I said I never bet on French combat athletes. God damn it. Good for you though, brother. I'm happy that somebody went the other way. Chasing what you got. PJ, he's chasing Ardo, but then I lose on other sports. So Ardo, mate, what I would just say then is, get to a point where like find the sports that you're, boxing. I know more people who bet only on boxing than I know who bet on any other specific sport. You know what I'm saying? Guys who bet on football bet on basketball. Usually like American football bettors are going to be degenerates. And that's no shade. I used to live in Vegas. I used to be a degenerate. I lived with degenerates, meaning that if you're betting on American football, you're probably part of the cycle of like football season, and then you're betting on basketball, and then you're betting on Major League Baseball. And it's like, are you really winning? I've never met anybody who just bets on football. My point is, I know a handful of guys who make a living off of betting just on boxing. So if you just won on boxing, and Ardo, if you're finding that you are winning on boxing more than any other sport, then just bet on boxing. What's up, Vega? Yeah, Fonseca was huge, dog, mate. Fonseca was a huge dog, Vega. And earlier in the week, I told the boys to don't take the Frenchie. And then I honey-dicked myself. I got honey-dicked by my boys to bet against them. We live with our mistakes. But Vega, we hit on our two-leg. We won a lot of money on our two-leg method of victory. We picked Ramirez to win by stoppage on the same ticket as Quello, and I shared that with you boys in our Discord. So hopefully you listened. Oscar, what's up, buddy? I'm going to bet my rent on Debutant. We going, no, no. La pipa. Don't do it, mate, you savage. I'm going to bet my rent. Don't do it, mate. No. PJ, I got Fonseca last minute. I put, nice, brother. All right, so you broke even, mate. You're not always losing. Mar the Prince, Ohio. I'm watching it over here. I got the Browns. Dude, it's crazy. I'm watching Browns preseason football. That just shows you the magnitude and gravity of Shador, the gravitas of Shador Sanders. And anybody who isn't cheering for a young kid, or anybody out there in anything who finds himself negatively cheering for the demise of a young person in anything is insane to me. Because I'm seeing Shador getting a lot of hate. He is getting a lot of love, which we like, especially being a Browns fan. But these are still young men. These are kids, you know what I mean? Granted, I'm 43. I look at Shador, a 22-year-old, a young kid, man. I do. Oscar 548 live after the knockdown 7-1. I know it's tough being a Browns fan, boys. Diehard Browns too. I'm come from the era of, dude, Bernie Kosar at quarterback, Webster Slaughter receiver, Kevin Mack running the ball, Eric Metcalf returning punts, Hanford Dixon on defense. Come on now. Brian Brennan playing split end. What you know about number 8, Brian Brennan? Webster Slaughter was my guy, though. Do you think Yard is too faded? I don't think he's too faded, mate, to beat Benny. I think that's going to be a good fight, Jazz. My problem with Yard is I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Benny's pace. Because even in Yard's last fight, we covered it. I think, we picked him to win. He fought, he took a while to get started, and he was fighting. I think that was a rematch. The boys had fought before, and his opponent came in super motivated and was winning a lot of the exchanges early rounds. And then it was like Yard was like just in a weird gear. And then somewhere in the 4th or 5th, he started to pick it up. Yard's going to have to be super switched on from the opening bell. I think Benny's going to be too much for him. PJ says, Ramirez, I didn't get it. They wanted 500, win 100. Really? Well, yeah. But if you would have taken Ramirez and Rios. That's not right. Ramirez, 100 would have won you 50. So 500 would have won you 250 on the knockout. And then you take that and you would have gotten Quello. Quello was the one with the slower odds, $1.20 on the knockout. Oscar De La Villa, I'm about to bet Ryan's next paycheck. You savage. Mar the Prince. Johnny Gary's 3D Longhorn fan. Oh, really, Mar? Dude, we're going after him, baby. He's a Texas fan. Shit. Buckeyes about to take belt to ass, boys. Start that season off right. Let's go. Gig 'em. Don't they go like gig 'em or something? Great individuals go to extreme measures. Boxing fan, just rolling in, brother. Boxing fans and OG, just rolling in. Yeah, get the likes up. We've been live for 37 minutes. 13 likes is depressing, guys. You guys support me in so many ways, but 13 likes is a little bit sad. I like what boxing fan. He tells the boys, like it and give us a trophy. Or give us something. Lyndon King Arthur. Yeah, Jazz, we covered that fight. Lyndon had me sweating for my money because I went heavy on Yard on the money line. And King Arthur his game plan was nice, pressuring him. That was a decent fight. I thought it was going to be a better fight. I expected more from Yard. Christian George, did you watch the tape on Manu? I watched both guys. Yeah, not a lot on Devyatov. I just, he's a Russian, lives in Australia, hasn't fought in a year. Go to his Instagram. I watch film study on both guys, but I also watch interviews. I kind of with guys who are climbing the ranks, especially domestically. I think there's a lot of value watching interviews as well. You get to see the psyche of what this kid what said fighter is actually fighting for. When I watch the tape on Devyatov, I see a kid who really feels he's world level. People don't know it yet. 16-0, 14 knockouts, hard to get fights. Manu, good records, been in there with some good guys. Like I tell you, he got stopped against Scobie. When I hear him talk, it's almost like, I don't know. I sometimes don't like when fighters take too much from a loss in a good way. How Ed had a victory parade for his loss against Canelo. That sort of thing. And when you hear some people in the Manu corner in his camp talk about when they bring up the Scobie fight, how he got stopped. Granted, mental framework is important psychologically, how we frame moments in our lives. It's important to take positives from a loss. But there's certain things how they frame that. It's almost like, I don't rate Kurt Scobie. You know what I mean? I don't think Kurt Scobie's world class. So I would say that if I got knocked out against Kurt Scobie, I would like to say that I got stopped because I came in unprepared. I didn't do things right. We didn't tick all the boxes. Maybe he was better than me on that night. I wouldn't frame it like, oh, I got stopped because I dared to be great and I fought one of the best in the world and it just wasn't my night. Just certain things like that. I mean, you could put whatever relevance you want to in that, but I guess my main thing with that point is I don't just watch the film study in their fights. I'll follow their Instagrams. I watch their interviews. I watch the weigh-ins. I watch Fight Week. I do all of that, and I'm comfortable with this underdog pick. Granted, he is my underdog lock of the week. I have to pick one every week. I pick one every week. It was slim pickings this week, mate. You know, you give me him a plus 270, let's go. But for however slim it was, we are eating again though, because we hit a plus 185, and I went big on it. The Ramirez and Coelho. So I told you at the beginning of the week, though, boys, we're architects, we're archaeologists. We're gonna dig and find what we need to find. And even though there weren't a lot of fights, we're gonna find some money, and we found it. So, like I said, even going into this fight tonight, and even going to the UFC, you know, hopefully you're not chasing your losses. Don't chase your losses, boys. Man who's gonna knock this Russian. And then you're gonna look like a genius, big dog Ardo. And then we'll come on live tomorrow and I'll be like, Ardo Ara. We salute you, Arto Ara. Arto Ara. Arto Ara. And I hope you win. You know what I'm saying? I hope you win. Thoughts on Claggett Ortiz full card? Mate, I can't wait to break that full card down. We're going to get there, boxing fan. I like the Steve Claggett versus Jermaine fight. Jazz says, I broke my wrist 6 weeks ago. Rehab is slow. Have you ever had... Jazz, I never had a wrist break. But where did you break it, actually? You know, because you have two bones here. Where the thumb rotates, your radius, that is your radius. And then this is your ulna. So it depends on where you broke it. How did you break it? Was it compound fracture? Was it a stress fracture? All these things are important. Me personally, I've never broken a wrist. Knock on wood. Adu, Scobie had way too much power for him. Yep. But power doesn't always equate to victories. We know that. When you're fighting a guy, and Manu knew he was going to that match being the under, you know, having less power. So you have to then rely on a game plan and your boxing skills. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't have those skills. I found fools. Ardo's Alex. So Alex. So when your boy Manu wins, we'll be on live tomorrow. I'll be like, Alex. Alexander the Great. Adu, I found fool's gold this morning. Baby boo. It's all about finding fool's gold. I found fool's gold. Where'd you find fool's gold, big dog? Christian George. Julius, my man. I know, bro. We know about it. We know about these Olympians. I made a list. I put it on our Discord and on my Instagram. Albert Badagaziev, 6-1 favorite. Nope. Galoya Fai, 3-1 favorite. Nope. Our boy, your boy, Umeha. Sufyan Umeha, big favorite. Nope. Southpaw. Oscar De La Pipa. I'm going to hit Figueroa Street in L.A. with my winnings. You ever been, John? Yeah, Oscar. I lived in Long Beach, California for 7 years. So I lived in the 562 for 7 years from 2004 to 2011, the LBC. You're going to go to Figueroa Street in L.A. with my winnings? You're a savage, dude. It's a nice tourist attraction. My man's a savage. Fraser, Badagazev, Galal, now Sofian. Yeah, and Julius, we could probably go back. We could probably find some more. Jazz, I fractured both my ribs. Damn, bro. Okay, so you fractured and dislocated. So this sounds like it was a crash. So did you fall off of something? Or did you jump off of something? Because for that to have happened, it's pretty, to fracture both and the dislocation, I'm interested how it happened, mate. It's going, look, bro, that is traumatic on the musculoskeletal system as well, meaning that, you know, the tendinopathy, the muscles, the bones, the cartilage around, it's going to be a slow process. So have a long-term mindset on your recovery. 6 weeks is not a long time for that sort of injury. So think about where you are in your recovery at this moment, and then have a bigger, broader outlook. Think about it in a year. And so don't rush your recovery either. Vitamin D for bones, my man. Boxing fan in the house, my guy. PJ, who you got, Johnny? What's the next? The next fight, we got big cards coming up, PJ. But like I said, I got some action on this domestic level Aussie fight. I'm taking the dog at 270 tonight. Julius, I now believe most modern day Olympians. Yeah, Julius, I sent a message to Gary from 3D and Muscles earlier about this exact point. Julius says, I now believe most modern day Olympians were just grown men beating up on teenagers. And it just kind of tells you a little bit about, too, this era of Olympic pedigree, this era of Olympic coaching, this era. I think there needs to be some adjustments. And then when they come into the pro game, you're telling me, we've seen it time and time again. It's just not sort of like a paradox. Back in the day, a gold medalist, would come into the pro game with a certain level of pedigree, and not, you have to be good to win a gold in anything, dude. But we're just seeing these guys getting outworked, outthought, even sort of outminded. When you watch some of these gold medal, like that Albert Botagaziev match against Jazza Dickens was a head scratcher in terms of what Jazza was able to do. That was a psychological beatdown too. It wasn't just a physical beatdown. And when you're questioning a man's mind, now, and hats off to Galal Yafai, we know that Frankie popped, and we didn't see, for how much Galal was getting beat up, we didn't see him psychologically break. So that wasn't the case with him. But still, he was the favorite. And maybe that's a bad one to use because Frankie, he came in on some stuff. But this fight, Sofiane, yeah, it looked like he broke. And you wouldn't really expect that from an Olympic guy. Manny R., I told you all week, don't bet French combat sports. I told you all week, don't bet French boxing. I told you I wasn't a believer. I never bet French MMA. Brian Battle, he's a UFC fighter, went into France a couple months ago to fight this guy, Jussiet. And he was the underdog. And Brian beat that ass, and he grabs a microphone. And he's in Paris. You think I'm going to come to France? You think I'm going to come all the way to France being an American and lose to a Frenchman? Are you effing kidding me? It's kind of like, I don't ever bet on French guys, mate. No offense to the French. But I like your croissants. I like your food, your croissant. I like your croissant. But I ain't, MMA was illegal there up until a few years ago. That's the whole point. It's nothing to do with the people. I'm not being racially motivated or profiling a country. It comes down to just the preparation and sort of like pedigree of French combat athletes at the time. Right now. Maybe that'll change in the next 20 years. Totally different sport. No, he's not, man. 40 pro fights? Oscar De La Pipa. I love saying that. Should have known not to bet on him with the Sofiane. Yeah, Sofiane. No, it wasn't Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain's a French Canadian. So a French Canadian, he's from, I think, Montreal or Quebec. French Canadian's different than French. Two different things. George St. Pierre, French Canadian. Different things. I'm talking about from France. Oh, Charles Jourdain, man. Air Jourdain's a savage. Jourdain used to train. So I did a documentary in 2020 about a sport called Lethwei. It's basically bare knuckle Muay Thai, but the headbutt is legal. It's the national sport of Burma, Burmese bare knuckle boxing, which is modern day Myanmar. And Jourdain trains with I followed the first Western world champion around for 2 years named Dave Leduc. And Leduc is him and Charles Jourdain train together. I've known about Jourdain for years. It's just he's just had ups and downs in his UFC career. For a kid who's so athletic and so solid, you'd like to see him put together a winning streak. Super athletic, super fun to watch, fan-friendly style, good on the microphone, good-looking kid. Like, yeah, it's just he kind of sometimes has these sort of head-scratching performances. Box fan Johnny, don't do French Figaro or women. French? The Figueroa brothers. Women's, though, man, I'll ride and die with Gabby, though, boxing fan. Gabby Fondora is my girl. I'll ride and die with Gabby, for sure. Goat in the house. Goat in the building. Got to get Goat's. Goat, we lost the star. You know what happened, Goat, is a month ago when we started our VIPs, boys, some of you guys got gifted as a gift a Johnny Says Boxing Insider membership, which I appreciate. Boxing Fan and other people are helping grow. Now, Goat, what you're going to have to do, if you don't mind, is rejoin. So just click that link that's pinned. It's just a couple bucks a month. It's good having you here regardless anyway, but it's weird not seeing you have the blue star. And you change your icon. Oscar de la Pepa, basically a Microsoft. Yeah, Arturo from Montreal. Nice. Arto, go to my playlist and check out the documentary I did on Dave LeDuc. Seafood Patrick. So Jourdain used to train with a guy named Seafood Patrick Marcel, I think was his last name. But he was also Dave LeDuc's coach. Imamov, last hope for France. But even Imamov though reps France. But he's not really French. Justice Finney was an Olympian and got flattened by a guy with zero amateur experience. Julius, that's a bit of a an unfair one. TriStar. Yeah, TriStar is going to be Faraz Zahabi. I'm talking about Seafood Patrick Marcel. Different striking coaches. Faraz runs TriStar, famed gym. I like what the boys down at New England, the Boston New England Cartel, Rob Font. I think Kelvin Cater might have went up there too, but Rob Font's whole entire game has looked different since he's been training with Faraz Zahabi. He's kind of had, and Font's like, 36, 37, looking great in his last few fights. Faraz Zahabi's a goddamn, even Faraz's brother, mate. People are sleeping on Faraz's brother. Faraz's brother could fight. Bivol with back surgery, saw that. Yeah, he said he's been struggling with that for years. Great question, got us. So I appreciate you, Goat. Yeah, so what we're learning through this experience is that the boys who got gifted the memberships, when that membership expires, YouTube doesn't notify you to say, hey, do you want to rejoin? So it's just something to think about. I got to pay attention to that. The only Olympian I see promising, Terramona is a nightmare, Julius. I've seen him fight here in Australia. Guys, they brought Terramona from the Jai Apataya card here in Brisbane a month ago purposefully to go fight in New York as a feature. And I told you, pick him by stoppage. I think Terramona's probably next 5-6 fights, it's fair to say. If you could take him by stoppage, do it. Goat, how do I resub again? Goat, click that link. I just see that you subbed. Koki, the shadow, thank you, brother. We're old heads out here, mate. So I use my shadow boxing. We got to stay active, boys. You shadowed 15. Good, Koki. Man, Koki, I wish you were in our, if you were in our Discord, you'd be able to share those shadow boxing videos because that gives you guys in the group could, share some fitness videos. I know, I think it was Goat who put up him hitting the bag. I didn't really realize Goat is a 6'2" southpaw boxer. So yeah, Julius in the house. We eating good on upcoming. Boxing fan hooking the boys up, my man. We eating good on upcoming at Tom of White. We are. We are. Guys, there's some money to be made. Okay, so we're learning. So Goat, when he rejoins, he's back to teal star status too. Interesting. I like it. It's a hobby. I sold a car to her cousin. Nice, man. Ardo, so being French Canadian, living in Montreal, do you speak English too? I know it's a weird question. Is it taught? Is English and French Canadian taught in the schools? Where can I register? Ardo, click the link that's pinned in the comment section. Ardo, Alex. Register, sign up. It's pinned here in the comments. Appreciate you, Goat. Appreciate Boxing Fan. Daniel Vega, my guy. Teal Star. Terramona personality for sure. The chat's picking up. Goat says Jalilov is a good upcoming heavyweight too. Yeah, we just saw him fight, didn't we? Are we looking at a highly motivated Dillian White, boys? Is everybody sold on, are you boys totally sold on Moses Ituama? Is everybody sold on him? Because one of the things that we like about the channel is whenever we feel we have a potential echo chamber happening, when all of us are siding on one fight or one fighter, we start the conversation to play the devil's advocate. Is anybody seeing a path to victory for Dillian White? Because he's lost a lot of weight. He's motivated. He's the veteran. He's going to have a lot more of experience. Is anyone seeing that? Or I'm not saying I am either. I'm just asking. I'm going to put something else in the chat. Yeah. Go, because the video you put up in the chat, you know, you said that was after a long day of training. Adu, sports bet's giving me 3-1 odds. Mate, you're getting tempted, big dog. I'm already in on it, brother. I already got action on Devyatov. Julius Shelov has 0 inside game. A rough and rugged heavyweight like Bateman. Valid points. See, I watched Jalalov's tape leading up to his last fight a week ago. I don't know what to make of him yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where I stand. And what's up, Spartan in the house? The Jalolov fight was staged. His opponent was wearing the Mason shorts. All the money was on. Yeah, he didn't get the stoppage, did he? So Koki, my amateur record 7-1. I might do some exhibitions for my shows. My gym is September if it's. Koki, you keep me posted, brother, because we got Mike Tyler TV, who's a member on the channel. Follow Mike Tyler is his name. He's a Johnny Says Boxing Insider. He's in our Discord, and he's linked up on Instagram with us. He's a 10-0 pro. He's a UK guy, and whenever he gets fight news, he's going to send it to me. I'm going to share it. Because, I also have a group on Facebook with about 40,000 people. It's Johnny Says Boxing on Facebook. It's an open public boxing group. That's another outlet for you fighters and you bettors if you want to get your bets out and you want to get your videos out to a bigger audience. Link up with me because I'm active on all socials. The only one I don't do is Twitter. So just Johnny Says Boxing on Facebook and then my name on Instagram, Johnny Stavko. And I'll help you guys out. Part of my due diligence of you guys supporting me out also, you know, I'll support you. I'll share your videos. I'll share your fight news. And we got a good, healthy community here. Okay, so Koki sold on Moses. Goat sold on Moses. Goats, you have a good eye too for this when it comes to like when we get to the prospects. I mean, you and I were talking about Joshua Edwards. It seems like a year ago. I think it was only 6 months ago when he had his first pro fight on that, I think, Long Beach card. I think he's fought 4 times since. Yeah, Moses. It's tough to find holes in his game. So are we saying Moses is going to stop White? Moses has a lot of dimensions to his offense. His only chance is a knockout. Moses has good vision. Bet the knockdown pro. Okay, so now the chat's heating up. This is the value we're talking about, boys. Moses has to stop White within. Okay. And Julius, Julius, your eye for the game. So you know your litmus test is where Dillian is in his career and where Moses with the hype and everything around him. That litmus test is like, all right, you got to get this old veteran who's ready to go off jump. Don't play with your food. Be class about it and get him out of here in the first 3. Are you going to bet on that, Julius? Is that going to be your action, or are you just going to take Moses to win by stoppage? Moses is efficient, doesn't waste energy. Salute to Mike. Yeah, follow Mike Tyler. Arto Ara, Moses has beaten who? 10-0 is amazing. Dempsey McCain. White is a huge step up. Koki, I love how you keep in the boxing media. Let's do it, man. This is I saw a hole in the game, Koki, 2 years ago. I went on YouTube and I saw who the biggest content creators on YouTube were regarding, and I made a list. I made a list of 5. And then I started dissecting their content and how they go about their business and how they grew the following. I'm like, dude, there is space, and I'm not the only one, for a positive boxing community that doesn't dog out the fighters, that doesn't talk trash, that doesn't spread false narratives or create content based on clickbait or builds a channel that isn't fanboys. There's a space for the opposite of all that, and that's what we're doing here. I appreciate you seeing that. Jazz, Sam Noakes is legit. He is legit, Jazz. How about that for a fun fight, boys? Two young guys. For a world title, too, guys, that's been elevated. We're about to see either Sam Noakes or Abdullah Mason. We're going to hear and new at 135. Come on. Adu says, I've never seen a Toma tested. Me either. So hoping White makes it interesting at least. I have Moses on a money line parlay and a not to go the distance on a separate one. Solid bets, brother. I like both of those. Boxing fan, can't wait for that fight. Me too, boxing fan. Abdullah, even if Abdullah wasn't from Northeast Ohio, where I'm from, even if Abdullah was from pick a place, I would still be high on him. I like here. I like everything here. I like how he what he talks about, how he talks about it, how he goes about his business. I like the connection to family. I like his intention. I like everything about how he operates. And in the sport of boxing, for the sport to continue to grow in a positive manner, we need young fighters who operate in a certain way. We also need young fighters who are wild men. There's a term out here in Australia that I learned when I moved here called larrikin. It's one of my favorite Aussie words. It's a larrikin. Larrikin means just a wild guy, a dude who's a savage. I'm sure we've all been there. And boxing needs those guys as well. But we also need the contrast to that. The two sides to a stone. Abdullah's that other side, which I also admire too. Noakes will bring the best out of him. We've seen Mason, but I agree Mason's stopping him. Wow. I'm wrestling with that. I'm wrestling with Abdullah stopping Noakes. So you could see you could see probably, I could actually see Sam Noakes on the ropes, and the ref stepping in. Abdullah could crack. Yeah, this is it. It isn't. We have a good thing growing, boys. Boxing fan just here on Johnny says boxing is where boxing. Let's keep it clean, boys. We're an hour in. It's my Saturday morning. My girlfriend has made me chocolate chip biscuits or chocolate chip muffins. I'm going to get these chocolate chip muffins, boy. She knows that I got a sweet tooth. I always deny it. She's, do you want me to make you muffins? I go, no, I don't need them. And then she'll make them, and then I'll message her. I say, did you make them? She goes, yeah. I was like, I'm coming to get them. So she knows me. But I've already trained. I'm going to do a little bit more training today. To everybody who's caught this, who's stayed an hour in, I appreciate you guys. All the support. We're growing. Remember, never chase your losses. And if you're betting this weekend, good luck.